What's the difference between being sore and just walking through that and, hey, and it's time to come and see you? Where do you think that line is?
Yeah, so to kind of decipher soreness from pain.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, so I would say soreness is usually in that, that day of, slightly day after kind of recovery phase where you have that achiness and you might have some focal area of pain, but more when you start to think about injury issues, it's that persistent pain, and it can prevent you from getting back to continuing running. So people that have soreness, they can, rest a day, go back, and they're able to return to running and not have much difficulty. But if you have an injury and there's, more consistent pain, you just, like if you're dealing with a stress fracture or something, you just can't continue to run.
Right.
And that's why probably getting in to see somebody's more helpful.
Now, it's fun to have you on, Yanti, because Bill has a coach. And I'm not sure who else in this talk has a coach. I consider my coach both, the geezers of gear. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not exactly sure. I think the jury's out on that. But Yanti, will you speak to the advantages, especially for beginners or anywhere within the realm of running? Why is it an advantage to have a coach?
Actually, this really goes from beginners to runners who run as a profession. That's how they make their money. And I do coach all levels. I love it. I enjoy it. And this especially goes for the adult onset runners. The best thing about a coach in running is to actually keep you from having to get to the point where you see Dr. Ann. No offense. I mean, I'd love to send you more business, but my business is to make sure I don't. So actually, my main job really for almost everyone in running is to keep you running where you're at, not where you think you should already be.
Interesting.
Yep. I think if I can elaborate on that one.
Please.
I remember when I started running back in 2012, I was just running on one pace. And it was always go, 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 go as hard as I can. And only with time you get like smarter and you go slower for trainings day. And I think that has something to do with getting injured, is when you always go full. And so there are different workout units that you kind of want to do, and it's not always go, go, go. So, and maybe Yanti, you can elaborate on that too.
If I might for a second, if you think about track sprinters, the folks that we all know and think about, Carl Lewis, Usain Bolt, you would be shocked at how much slow, easy running they do. And that's in order to hammer out a 100, 200 meter sprint. You take that out to like a half marathon or marathon level, or even, your 5K fun run. And you're thinking about actually doing a lot of really easy, super enjoyable, I call it conversational level running. It actually, in order to perform your best, even at those, like what you would think of shorter endurance distances, 5K.
Bill, you've had a Coach Dave for 2 years or 1 year?
A little over a year. It was a year in June that I started working with him.
So this guy, okay, so first of all, you started off the year with an injury.
I did.
And we're going to get into injuries in a second, but Since we're on coaches, tell me the effect that Dave has had on your running life.
Well, it really, it kind of affirms both with what Davide and Yanti have been saying. The first thing that he did is sort of looked at my history, and saw that, Davide, much like what you were saying, my 5K races and my everyday training runs were the same pace. and neither was fast. They were, but they were both. I had one gear, and it wasn't. For me, it was all out, but it wasn't fast, and I wasn't getting any faster, and I had a couple nagging injuries, and so when I started working with Dave, the first thing he did is kind of break up and remind me, and this is part of that, that accountability thing you talked about with the geezers. You guys remind me of this too. But 80% of my running should be at an easy pace. I have one workout a week. I had just finished today about a half hour ago. I had a workout of 10 400s at a pretty fast pace. But everything else this week will be 1.5 to 2 minutes slower than that pace. And that kind of, it's like anything that you do in a way. There are times you go all out, and there are times that you have to go at a different speed, just to give your body a chance to rest, your body a chance to recover. And those were all the things that, when I got into running, I thought the purpose of running was to go as fast as you can from point A to point B. And then I couldn't figure out why I got 2 blocks down the street and was exhausted and tired and coughing up a lung and bored out of my mind. Well, I learned a few things, both running with other people, but also with a coach who's like, yeah, okay, that's not the point of this. The point of this is to figure out, Yanti, you said it too, and so my coach says, his job is to take me where I am now. That's the starting point. It's not to just say, okay, you have to reach this goal, you have to get to this, but where are you now? Let's build from there. If injury, when I had some problems with my Achilles, the first thing he did was shut me down. And I was like, no, I can run through it. That line that we all hear that, no pain, no gain. No, it really doesn't. One I mentioned before, one of the books that I read when I started was the book Born to Run, which you're probably familiar with. And there's a great line in there that I love, that when Chris McDougall's coach says to him, if you think you're working too hard, you probably are. And so back off a little bit. I mean, you're only going to hurt yourself. You're only going to do yourself harm. And, you're not going to win anyway. So the goal is for you to do the best that you can do, not to go out there and kill yourself and think that there's some great reward for it at the end. So really what my coach has done is he's slowed me down. He broke things up. And the irony, of course, to all of that is I am running way faster today than I ever imagined was even possible. And it's still not, I'm still not going to hit any podiums anytime soon, but it's way more efficient. It's way less, injuries are managed much, much better. And it gave me another level of accountability. He's got a training plan, and I'm running these days, and I've got to put it in on an app, and he's going to see it. And
right.
And if there's a day that's like, I just don't have it today. Okay, well, that's fine. We'll talk about that and we'll move on. But it's another level of, if I want to get better, I do need to do this.